Let's ask people. Let's let everyone in and ask them what their news is. Maybe we should let people in. That's great. I'm going to ask that. I'm going to.
Whatever happens doesn't matter, I know we can sort it out. And Omega, even if we go all out, we can stand it away. Alpha and Omega, whatever happens doesn't matter, I know we can sort it out. And Omega, Alpha and Omega.
I can't believe that you came into my life. You made me feel again. Now it's my turn. You say you've always been a little bit shy, but I can put an end to your fears. Let me show you a place where you gon' wanna move your feet until they start to bleed. DJ, take it away. Tonight is all for you and me.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Rebellious Business Show. That rhymes. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? We stopped sharing. Welcome back to the Renegade Master. Morning, Caroline.
Morning.
Hello.
All morning.
Hello. How's it going?
So like we've just been on the call to each other since we woke up this morning. So.
Oh, nobody knows. This is show business, baby. This is show business.
I'm good. I am good.
Marvelous. Wonderful. I'm so pleased to hear that. That's fantastic.
How's everyone doing here on the show? Oh, actually, we'll do the hashtag live, the hashtag replay stuff.
Well, before we do that,
okay.
First and foremost, welcome everybody. This is the Rebellious Business Show. We are live here every Wednesday at 10:30 to talk business. We've got lots of things happening on this show throughout the entire year because we only miss one episode, and that's when it's Christmas. We let the team take a week off over Christmas. We're such kind employees. By team, we're referring specifically to Jennifer, who is the one behind the scenes running the show and the Rebellious Business Network. Shout out to Jennifer, everybody. Jennifer does not get enough recognition for how much bloody work she does. So shout out to you, Jennifer. She's always behind the scenes talking to our clients and putting all the promotions out for the show. She does so much. And just want to take this moment to just tell you, Jennifer, how much we love and appreciate you. Jennifer's taking a bow for anyone listening on the podcast. But yeah, so this show is here every week, and you are tuned in to an episode where we are going to discuss collaboration as a way to grow your audience today. And I would love to know how many of you would love to grow the size of your audience without spending money on paid ads to do so. Show of hands. And if you're watching on Facebook, drop a yes, me, in the comments and let us know that you want to grow your audience without having to rely on advertising costs to do so, as a way to get started. Caroline, did you say you want to do something about hashtags?
No, just getting the hashtag live, hashtag replay. If you are watching live, give us a hashtag live on Facebook. And if you're watching on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. I will say the Facebook Live crew, they're really letting the team down this morning. Not even as much as a good morning from them. We've got a well in the chat from Stu over on the live Zoom with us. But yeah, Facebook, you're really letting the team down today. I'm disappointed. I'm not.
What a way to motivate people, Caroline. You're really letting us down, everybody.
Yeah.
Just let us know you're here. Drop a comment in the chat. The reason why, look, Ian's not letting the team down. He says, yes, me, hashtag live. I feel really defensive of the rebels now. They're not letting us down. They're the reason why we're here. They're amazing.
Good morning, Melanie. Good morning. See, just needed some words of discouragement.
Some words of some tough love, some bullying.
Yeah. Hey, good morning. There we Fantastic. Go. Oh, this has made me feel so much better. I've got a very fragile ego, apparently. I need the comments. I'm a dopamine fiend. So yes, and then we've got lovely chat. We got lovely chat in the chat. In the Zoom chat. The Zoom chat. We've got morning, good morning, and good morning all. And we've got Neely. We're letting you in, Neely. Neely is coming in. So yeah, I'm good. And
marvelous.
Well, the hashtag lives have been said. And that's
fantastic. Okay, so we got a show of hands with how many people want and like to grow their audience organically. I want to know, what was your last collaboration? What was the last thing you did to collaborate with another business owner, or another solopreneur, or another whatever you want to label it as? What was your last collaboration, if you have ever collaborated with someone else? Type that in the chat. And if you haven't ever collaborated with someone else, say, I have not, and put that in the chat.
So in your own words, don't let us force your words.
We like to template responses because it makes it easier for people. But yeah, if you have your own words, feel free to use those. I mean, those are always welcome. Fantastic. Okay, so
I also want to jump in quickly as well, because there was another thing which we did speak about in the emails, which I also love. We will touch on this as well, I think, is that there's also questioning the motives behind growing your audience as well, because you feel like you need to have an audience before you can have a business. So I'd love to get onto that at some point today as well. But let's go on to the results of what people have said to our poll.
Well, the results are in, Caroline. I can let you know that Tanya says, good morning all. That wasn't the result on the poll. Ruth says podcast. Gemma says, I have not. Tanya says, I haven't ever collaborated with anyone. Richard says, I have not. Heather says, never done a collaboration. And over on Facebook, it's very quiet. All we have is let us know, Facebook crew.
Yeah, the Zoom crew are winning.
So where should we start? I mean, this is a big topic. Caroline, where do you want to begin this one?
Well, let's talk about basically the problem. I want to actually start with the problem, which is I want to grow an audience, because that is the way to have a successful business, right?
Yeah. Eyeballs on your stuff.
Yeah.
Clients.
Yeah, exactly. So what is everyone's experience with growing an audience? What's your experience with growing an audience as well? Like when you first got started with Rebellious, how did you start growing that audience?
Okay, so I always want to differentiate two things before we get into this. Rebellious has always been about growing community, and community and audience are two slightly separate things, although they do fall under the same umbrella as multiple sets of eyeballs viewing your content. But there is a difference between growing audience and growing community. My focus has been on growing community, which is, I describe that as a 3-dimensional kind of audience, because an audience is very transactional. It's sort of a 2-dimensional, and transactional. It's, people watching my stuff. They are my audience. A bit like people in an auditorium watching a show. That is an audience. Whereas a community is people watching the show, but also connecting with each other at the same time. And so that's slightly more complicated. I just want to say though, that when we talk about collaboration, we can use that to grow our audience and also our community. So we're going to refer to it as audience throughout this episode, just to keep it simple, I think. But in terms of having an audience and a community, it will grow both. So how I started growing my audience then, when I launched Rebellious back in 2020, two things really. The first thing was tapping into my existing network. And I guess you could say that audience was already there, but it was a new show for my existing connections, I guess. It was a new development in my business for my existing connections that I then got out in front of people and told them. So there were the existing connections that I had. And then on top of that, the first thing I did in Rebellious Business was used collaboration right from the beginning. The first ever Rebellious Business live event was a collaborative event. So I guess you could say collaboration from the very word go.
Well, are you talking about then, like, so what about like it? So I'm now picturing Instagram as the audience more so than the community.
Well, it can, social media, if you've got people on your business page, if you've got people on Instagram, if you've got people on LinkedIn and they are consuming your content, they are an audience to your content. The community is where you are bringing people together and they're creating connections with each other. So it's kind of like taking that audience to the next level. But I really think we shouldn't overcomplicate that in this session and just refer to it as audience across the board. Okay. But what I do think we should differentiate between is, or define is what are we talking about in terms of collaboration? Because, you know, Deliveroo and Stripe have collaborated, not Stripe, sorry, bloody Spotify. I got Stripe on the brain. I'm dealing with lots of things.
Yeah. We are collaborating with Stripe.
We are collaborating with Stripe. We are customers of Stripe. No, Deliveroo and Spotify have collaborated, right? And they have collaborated by providing Spotify services to Deliveroo drivers. And that's a collaboration of product. So you can collaborate in that way where you do joint products. Perhaps you've got like, I don't know, a business coaching product that you collaborate with a mindset coaching product and you create one product out of the two companies' products. That's a kind of collaboration. Or, you know, you've got brand collaborations in a similar kind of way. What we're referring to here is collaborating on content. So getting guests on your podcast, getting guests onto a live event, doing summits where you've got multiple speakers, you know, getting on other people's stages, basically just getting out in front of other people's audiences by creating collaborative pieces of content with them. And that includes guest blogging as well. I think we had someone say that they did, and I know, well, no, we haven't, but we have got one of our rebels that have been doing guest blogging as a way to collaborate with people.
I want to dig into that then, because I think that's something that's not really accentuated enough because people can't see behind the scenes, is the drastic impact of you've featuring on other people's platforms, which can often even seem like a bomb. Like, I know that like you've gone and like guest spoken on some podcasts or done something and you're like, there was like virtually no one there, or there's been a small audience. However, it's come back and been like, oh yeah, I saw you at this thing. It's the lurkers again. I think the lurkers are there. The lurkers, they're everywhere. So I think, like, let's talk about the value quickly. So in terms of like the outcome of collaboration that we're looking to achieve is a growth of community / audience, like however we want to categorize that. But also it does so much for your authority. But what, like, talk about how your experience of like getting out there, what impact that's actually had on your business, our business, I suppose.
Well, massive amount. I mean, and there's so many different levels to this, because when I first got started, like right from the word go, I didn't have the opportunity to go and speak on someone else's massive stage. I had to kind of build a bit of a reputation and, you know, build a bit of authority first. So once you can start tapping into speaking on other people's stages and at other people's events, in terms of places that have a really big audience, like for instance, AdCon. I'm speaking there this year. You know, that's a really amazing opportunity. But that wouldn't have been offered to me from the word go. So I think when we're at the beginning, we kind of it's smaller collaboration, and then as we grow a little bit more, then we get bigger collaboration opportunities. It's had a huge impact. In fact, as you were speaking, I went to go and get a slide that I actually demonstrated the power of collaboration and the power of whatever on growing the Rebellious Business Network Facebook group as an example. And I'll just quickly show you this. So this is back in, I think, 2021, our growth on the Rebellious Business Network. And this is the growth line. Is it 2020? No, 2020, sorry, 2020 into 2021, okay? No, it's just 2020, Cordelia. Just 2020.
There's months at the bottom, love.
God, I'm getting
Not
confused.
even the whole of 2020. So for anyone watching on the podcast, we have a very basic timeline.
No, it is 2021 because it says versus the 30th of December 2020. So it is, I was right. I should trust myself more.
Okay.
2021.
Oh, versus then. Okay.
So this is the growth line of the Rebellious Business Network. Now you can see here there are some vast jumps. Yeah, there's a nice jump here. There's a jump there. Not sure what that was due to. We also had a drop there. But there's a jump here, and these are things that have, you know, 3 significant events in 2021 that grew our audience. The first one was a challenge launch that we did. You know, we got a little raise in people joining the Facebook group there, promoted a challenge launch, got people in. The second one was when I spoke on stage at Expert Empires for the first time, right? Audience of 500. I think I converted 50% of the audience into leads. 50% of the audience signed up for the lead magnet that I offered. And off the back of that lead magnet, a lot of people joined the Facebook group. And the third one was when we had this man come to speak at the Rebellious Business Network. He has, at the time, about 100,000 people on his email list. And he just sent out one email to say that he was speaking at our event and brought in a load of people with him when he came along. So kind of 2 different collaborative things that have grown the size of that audience there. So, you know, in measurable ways, it does bring a lot of people in when you connect with other people's audiences in various different means. But just to go right back to the beginning, the first ever Rebellious Business event, which would have been this session that we're on now, but the first one, which was the 18th of March, 2020, I was not speaking. I was hosting, and I had an expert, a website designer, Jintari, come on to do a session on how to build a website. Why? Well, it was March 2020. We know what that means in terms of where the world was. And a lot of people were having to pivot online. And we did a session on how to turn your website into your online home or something like that. And so that was a session that was super relevant. And she spoke, she advertised it in front of her audience that she was speaking on this live session this live networking session that we were doing. And then we did that session together.
I want to jump in quickly. Oh, go.
Yeah,
you finish that.
I was just going to say, I had 0 people in the group. I had 0 people registered. I had 0 people on the list for the new Rebellious Business thing. It was completely brand new. And I had a guest speaker come on, and, you know, we got our first 100 people on that list fairly quickly.
So quick interjection from our sponsors. This is actually a recording available in with our RIA membership. So all of these calls, just to clarify, this isn't a real plug or pitch, but just so you know, if anyone is interested in viewing all the recordings of our previous shows, it's available if you want to be a member of the Rebellious Entrepreneurs Academy. Now, second to that is the clarification of audience here, because I checked my Facebook profile the other day because I've been sharing stuff onto my Facebook profile from our business, and I've got 1,400 friends, which is definitely not true. I don't have that many friends. So that's an audience that I've somehow curated since 2017. So just to clarify, like when Cordelia's saying Jintare put it in front of her audience, and you know this audience, you already have an audience to put it in front of. There's obviously, we've got a broader audience because we've been working and promoting and developing an audience, but you're not starting from zero, I expect, unless you've been under a social media rock for the last decade, maybe even longer. So like audiences, to promote yourselves, like let's say you're doing you want to get someone to be a host on your show, or you want to have a collaboration on a podcast you're doing or something like that. This other person, they just need to have like LinkedIn contacts, that's good enough, or lots of friends on Facebook. Obviously it's ideal if they've got a Facebook page, like a business page with 1,000 followers, that'd be great as well. Or, you know, if they've got a YouTube channel, or they've got all those things. But I think a lot of people, like, they dismiss their audience because it's not the Instagram influencer audience that they've been told they need or whatever. So I just kind of wanted to clarify in terms of when you're collaborating and sharing each other's audiences, it's a good enough for friends, for like Facebook friends. But
I think the thing is that when you're in business, when you are in your first couple of years of business, especially, the more people that know what you do, the better. It's not necessarily about solely curating an audience of ideal clients that need what you do, have the problem, need to solve it right now. It's about getting out in front of lots and lots of people so that you also have referrers, you have people that speak about you, but also you just are connected with a lot of people. And we do this in a bit of a blanket way to start off with. You know, we can get more targeted and more specific down the road when we start to run ads and whatever. But really, the most powerful thing is get in front of people in general, and make sure a lot of people know exactly what it is that you do. And so having someone come and speak on your podcast, or doing the easiest one that doesn't require any building or any show in place, or a blog in place, or a podcast in place, or a YouTube channel in place, or even a website in place, was the kind of collaboration that I was doing back in 2017, which is where I would just go and get someone who was in a similar kind of industry to me and just interview them live on Facebook. Would share it to their Facebook and to my Facebook, or Instagram, so that Instagram Live is showing on their story circle and on my story circle at the same time. And it just slowly gathers followers because your content is being displayed in front of their connections. Not necessarily audience might be a strong word, is what Caroline's saying. Audience could be a strong word if you haven't carefully curated an audience of the right kind of people over, you know, a few years, and you've now got thousands of people that, you know, are ideal for your product. It's just about getting out in front of other people's connections. And that's one thing that's great about LinkedIn, by the way, is, of course, you know, you don't only get seen by the first level connections, there's also second level connections as well. So that kind of thing really enables you and helps you to further your reach in front of more people. And it's so much easier to do that, so much easier to get out in front of more people if you're doing it with other people, because the fact that you're on a live interview with Tom Smith, who, you know, has 500 other connections, means that Tom Smith must have some level of trust or respect or faith in you to even be seen in public being interviewed by you or being on a joint thing with you, which creates a layer already of social proof for his connections, right? It means that, oh, this person is a connection of Tom Smith, therefore I trust them more than I would have done if I just came across them on my own for the first time ever, just by stumbling on them on social media, right? So that's really why it's so powerful, is not only you getting out in front of more people, but you're getting out in front of more people with one of their friends as one of your connections, which creates that social proof, because you're now a friend of a friend rather than a random person on social media.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, actually. It's like, you know, just having a big audience doesn't mean more, it's not, if you're more reputable, because at some stages as well, it's like sometimes you can't actually trust the bigger like people. So and like what I'm thinking of an experience, we've definitely been to a variety of conferences, and sometimes I've been at conferences and I've watched the speaker on stage who's like headlining and been like, this is absolute rubbish, but there's a name behind it, and so that's why this person is on the stage. So that makes it kind of, it's like the person can sometimes be there for a name. I feel like I'm taking this on a basically the point is like, it doesn't matter that you're collaborating with a big brand in terms of like getting business success, because it doesn't necessarily make you more trustworthy. What does make you more trustworthy is someone you trust promoting, like someone, if I'm in an audience and someone I trust promotes me someone. So if my friend, I'm just thinking of one of my friends who I would trust with everything. If she said to me, oh, I know this website designer, I would so likely trust her over someone who's speaking on a stage, because there's an agenda. So I don't think you shouldn't throw out an audience of like people's friends, because it's not a huge curated conference audience.
It's super powerful. Social proof is something that is immeasurable in worth, like immeasurable in worth. The more social proof you can get, the more powerful your levels of trust will be with new people. And that, by the way, just a little caveat here, is one of the powers of community, because when you step into someone's community, that's exactly what happens. It creates this massive level of social proof, because you've got all these people in this community that say all these wonderful things and are active in that community. So it means, oh, it must be good in here. Like, it must be a good environment. The leaders of this group must be great. And it just creates this subconscious level of social proof. Let's do a little experiment. Let's play a little game. If you can remember, I would love it if we've got John Denley saying in the chat that we got him from Expert Empires Virtual. Think back, where did you first come across me or Caroline? And what was it that brought you into our world? If you can remember, drop that in the chat, because it'd be really interesting to see. I know there's a huge combination, and I've got a hunch that, yes, okay, we've got a lot of people that came in via ads now. But before we started the ads, I know that a lot of people came in off the back of either someone else talking about us, or seeing me on stage somewhere, or hearing us on a podcast somewhere, or me being featured on a blog post somewhere. Yeah, so Heather's saying Facebook, Richard's saying Facebook. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people right now have come in from Facebook ads, but I'd be interested, who of you have come in from an event like Expert Empires, or
we've even been searched. That's lovely.
Well, Diana's saying she did a search for online networking early in the first lockdown. And actually, we've had a few people come in off of a blog post I got featured in, which was top 10 online networking events in 2020, which was really cool.
That goes to show blog collaboration. Sarah Elizabeth Jones, Swick, she knew us. You met through Swick.
Sell What You Know show, yeah. So I was a host on someone else's show for a while, which was another one. But yeah, so there's lots of things that we've done over the years that have brought a lot of people in, and actually that experiment failed because of Facebook ads are so effective. They've really grown our audience nicely over the last few weeks. Now
I don't think it discounts the point, because the point is that's a very recent thing that's been very powerful. But in terms of, I think in terms of relationship building and in terms of getting started with business on a low budget, you cannot really get better than free exposure. Like, a collaboration is essentially free exposure. That's it. Yeah, like, we have got ads, and quite honestly, it does make things take off. But the collaboration created that fertile soil, right? Yeah. Like, it really, I've seen a lot of businesses that have not done the groundwork on like collaboration and community building and all the organic effort that was put in. There's a lot of businesses I see that don't do that, which is fine, but they have the structure of the business is quite significantly different with the ads. It's very much dependent on ads, and that's a challenging thing to be dependent on, because to a certain extent they are reliable, but there's elements of luck involved, and there's elements of like there's elements of really real unreliability and cost. So the collaboration is free exposure, and also it pre-builds a relationship, which ads don't do.
Well, here's the other thing as well, is that the collaboration is an organic marketing strategy, and organic marketing strategies are really important for creating longevity in your social proof creation, in your audience, etc. Because with ads, if you went straight into ads and that was your only strategy, you can turn it off and turn it on, and you know that will have a very direct impact on your inbound lead flow. With organic, if you put the work in at the beginning to, I don't know, like do lots of interviews, get onto other people's YouTube channels, get onto other people's podcasts, get into articles, do joint blog posts, these are things that will continue to serve you for time to come. And so that will continue to bring people in. We still get people coming in off of videos and podcasts and things I did like 3-4 years ago, which is really cool. However, it's a trickle, and it's not scalable in terms of, we can't turn the tap on and turn it off, but it's there. But what it does do is this: when people go search for you and they go look you up and they go, oh, I really like this ad. Oh, Cordelia and Caroline have put out this networking event. They seem cool. Who are they? And you go search for us. There are articles, there are stage performances, there is YouTube stuff, there are other people's YouTube channels. There's, you know, lots of things in place that give you a good amount of what's it called, like social stalking, where you can go and stalk us and see that kind of portfolio that is sitting there on the internet. And that's what you're doing in those early stages. Not only are you getting clients in and getting exposure and building your audience, but you're building an organic portfolio that's going to sit there for years to come that will create a lot of social proof. So really, one of the best ways you can start doing that is to start working with other entrepreneurs to support each other by collaborating. And my very first collaborations, just quickly to round this up, was literally like 2017, when I was affiliate marketing, interviewing other affiliate marketers who were, you know, making a success of their affiliate marketing business on social media. That was it. That's what I did, and just got me out in front of people they knew and got them out in front of people I knew, and it just built from there. By the time I left affiliate marketing, I had a bit of an audience around me, which was great because it really bolstered the growth, or the beginning of the beginning growth of Rebellious Business. What's your question, Caroline?
Well, it's now turned into two, because I'm thinking there's a really amazing resource, right? So one of the things that I think gave us a kickstart with an audience, because I had a bit of an audience before I actually tapped into Rebellious as well and used the Rebellious audience, and that was from being in a community. So firstly, I think, like, if anyone's watching this, if you're not in the Rebellious Business Network, you need to be in there and also make relationships in there and get established. I'm really not trying to plug here, but I am letting you know that Cordelia and I were in a community that wasn't the Rebellious Business Network, and that's how we met as well, which you can obviously already see what the result of that was: a partnership in business, and we have an amazing, like, all the things, right? So collaborating just as a unit is great. And so you've got these options in the Rebellious Business Network, and you know that people, any network, do you know what, let's take out the plug, any network, any business place, you can go and like meet people and get these collaborations, and it really gives you that head start into building an audience. But what I'm interested in aside of that is how would you go about getting that first person booked? Like, I imagine anyone listening to this would be like, oh, I do not know how to find someone. I just don't know what to do to get someone to host a webinar for me. Why would they want to? Well, I'm just little old me.
The webinar for you, you would host the webinar, but you would get someone on to be either a guest expert on that webinar, or it would be, and it could either be a webinar or a social media live. It doesn't need to be a webinar, but I recommend a webinar, because then you've got, just in terms of the structure, a live, you're just going live on social media. A webinar is like this: we're on Zoom, we've got people on Zoom, and you're list building with it, right? So webinar, a loose term, even if it's just an interview or a discussion, I'm just calling it a webinar because of that as a structure, with the landing page and the thank you page and the email follow-up, etc. But how do you go and get your first person to either come and do a social media interview with you, or come and be on a webinar? Well, you just ask. Like, the worst possible scenario is that person's going to say, no, I'm too busy for that, right?
Would you ask one person, or would you put a call out, like a post or whatever?
No, I would individually ask people. I mean, you can put posts out if you've got people. Right, let's rewind and let's start at the beginning. Okay. I'm a brand new business owner, and the first thing I need to do as a brand new business owner is get myself connections who are my peers. So I would do that by going to networking events. I would do that by being a part of a business program or course like the Rebellious Entrepreneur Academy or a mastermind. I would do that by going to business conferences and getting myself out there in the business world where I can make friends and connections and get into the right circles. That is a really important tip for anybody wanting to increase their level of connections. I have always prioritized that. And I don't think I've put enough emphasis on how much I've prioritized that over the last 7 years, is getting into the right circles in terms of making friends with other business owners. Really, really important, because it unlocks doors and there's opportunities behind so many opportunities. The reason why I got AdCon this year is because one of my business friends put me forward for it when John Pemberthy was asking for speakers. And this guy that John Pemberthy knows said, Cordelia, all the way, she's brilliant. He looked at my stuff, we spoke, I got AdCon. If it wasn't for that, would he have even found me? I don't know. Would I be speaking? I don't know. So these connections that you make unlock so many opportunities, because you make friends, you get friends with people in different circles. It's really, really powerful to do so. So that would be the first thing I do. The next thing I do is I'm now connecting with my friends and saying, I want to do a live series or a live interview, or I'll showcase you on my socials to talk about this thing that you're amazing at. Like, would you be up for coming on and letting me interview you? And then I can give you the recording afterwards and you can use it for content and whatever. Like, what do you think about that? Can we do that? And be like, yeah, of course. I would love to do that with you, because we're friends, right? I built that relationship, that connection. I'm not going after strangers. I'm not Googling influencers and then reaching out to them in their DM inbox going, can I interview you on my platform? That's when they're cold and they're going to go, is this worth the opportunity for me? Like, for instance, I'll give you another example. We got Andrea McLean, who was on Loose Women, really high profile woman, has done incredible things in her career, is way more high profile than Rebellious Business is, has got so many opportunities being thrown at her left, right, and center, and being pulled left, right, and center to speak here and speak there, and having to say no all the time, because otherwise she's going to get burnt out. She says yes to everything. And she came and spoke on the Rebellious Business Show. Well, why did she do that? Like, why did she? Because we made friends, we connected, we were in the same mastermind. And I said, I would absolutely love to help you promote your new product by getting you out in front of the Rebellious Business Network. Like, how does that sound? We'd love to have you on the show. And she came on the show. So it's about reaching out to your friends first. And if you haven't got any friends, well, then we need to go get some. We need to get into the right circles. We need to start networking. We need to position ourselves as a pillar of the community at Rebellious Business Network. We need to do the 30-day video challenge, or we need to go to in-person physical networking events and get into new circles, or join a program or a mastermind, with the view of getting into the right circles. And just to close up on that point, is that the reason why I joined a mastermind before I'd even made any money with a coaching program that I was just starting, which, by the way, was an investment of like nearly 10,000 for the year, was not because I thought they were going to help me strategically get to the next level. I had a business coach at the time. It was because I saw the power and the value of getting into a new circle and getting connected with the right people. And I think a lot of people then go into that mastermind because they wanted, to get the training and the secret to get to the next level, and missing out on the importance of actually how powerful that connection piece was, and not leveraging that, which for me, watching that was a bit of a shame, because I'm like, oh, you're missing out on something really, really valuable. The connection is really, really powerful, and is what can unlock so many other doors and so many opportunities, making friends in the right circles. So yeah, That's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm really glad you went through all that, because I will say, you know, having met you 7 years ago when you first got, well, I suppose the first business you didn't have a community, which was when you were doing an eBay store. The next one, I was there to be to witness you, how you approached the community was, I think how we both approached it was different, but I think how you approached it was way more innovative, because that you were looking at more about rather what you can get from the training or from the that whatever's being taught. It was more really relationship building with people who were in the same, not the same interest group as you. And also there are layers to people that have, you know, wider audiences as well. You made great friends with the people that were running the community, and you also added value into that community. Like, we created our own sort of value pocket anyway, but for me that was all about us being friends. I will say this is probably the best advice I can give anyone, is to look into these circles as to not just you know, what you can gain from the education, from what's being like shared as a product, but who's in it, because the community is a product as well. And also I'm trying not to say like go in and try and like I'm going to go make friends and just utilize them. It's also about adding value and prioritizing those relationships and connections. So you did go into these communities with a different goal, it seemed, from everyone else, which was not necessarily, obviously you wanted to grow as a business and learn and develop, but you were very, very quick to prioritize relationship building. And it's so clear that you do actually care about people as well. Like, this isn't just a get in and just grab onto everyone who can give you some sort of value. That's no way to build a relationship or to build a reputation. Is to go in and actually try and provide value, and then in that way you will get noticed by everyone.
Yeah. And so just to give you guys some context, if you're hearing this story of me and Caroline in this community for the first time, this is back in 2017 when me and Caroline were affiliate marketing, and we were a part of a company, a bit like network marketing. We were a part of a company, the same company, and we were learning how to affiliate market. Now, the difference between this is it wasn't network marketing. They just give you a product to get started with so that you can be an affiliate of their product if you don't have a product to sell yet yourself, or you don't know what your niche is yet, just to get you started so you can learn marketing. Now, they do physical events. It's an online company. All their training's online, all their webinars are online, their community is online. But 4 times a year, they would have, or sometimes 3 times a year, they would have a physical in-person event. And the first one that I went to, which was the first one that came up since joining, was in Arizona. And I went all the way to Arizona to go to this event to meet people in person. Now, you know, I mean, that sounds crazy, doesn't it? You've got people in England saying, oh, I can't come to AdCon because it's too far away. It's like, whoa, I went all the way to Arizona for my first live event. And that seems wild. Like, can't believe I did that. But it was the best thing I ever did, because I got to meet people in person, which strengthened those relationships. Now, what Caroline's saying is that, yeah, I went in and I prioritized friendships and whatever, but also I was just super helpful. Like, I was just trying to be helpful to everyone. Like, what can I do to help? Can I help with anything? Now, that's good, because it gives off, you know, the right tone for a giving and receiving relationship that becomes an actual friendship, right? And that's really important. But another thing was that I made a point of going up to the CEO and co-founder of both of them, both co-founders of that company, and talking to them and making friends with them. And we did become friends, you know, at following events. One of them, he was pushing me up and down the corridors in a supermarket trolley. You know, we are having a blast, having a great time. And so prioritizing friends in you know, the right way. And what happened from there, I ended up being employed in that company as a business coach, which gave me some great experience that unlocked the next level for me. I also was, me and Caroline were both employed there. And we were also both ambassadors for the company and doing lots of trainings before we were employed. So just a small example.
We did a lot of free work.
We did a lot of
yeah, we did free. I mean, now it's definitely, I look back, I'm like, yeah, that definitely paid off. But at the time I was like, this ambassador stuff is pretty it's pretty draining. Like I'm not really feeling many of the actual benefits. I mean, it was amazing in terms of building relationships and a reputation. And you know what, sometimes you do have to do stuff for free, but yeah, I mean, that was quite hard work, building a business and working in the other business, and then also being employed. It was very challenging, but definitely worth doing.
I think we should talk about that for a second. Collaborating with other people for free.
We'd love some free employees.
No, but let's just talk into that for a second, because one of the most powerful ways you can collaborate with other people is to speak on their stage or at their show, or you know, in front of their mastermind or in front of their program. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a live training that was 2 hours long in front of someone else's mastermind community. And there was only about 18 to 20 people there. And it was 2 hours, and it was at 7:30 p.m. I mean, it was really inconvenient. And I did it for free. I did not charge for it. And, you know, there was part of me that was like, Cordelia, you need to start charging for stuff like this. It's getting silly now. Come on. Like, we need to start charging for this. But at the same time, actually, we did get a client come through from that talk I did. And I got out in front of 20 more people that didn't know who I was. And it was massively authority building in front of those 20 people, because the person that's asked me to come speak at their mastermind must trust me to let me loose in front of their paying clients. So, you know, these things in terms of speaking in front of other people's communities, do as much for free as you can for as long as you can, until you're at a point where I don't have time, I don't need more clients, I'm inundated with opportunities. Because these things, even if you can get out in front of 20 people here and 20 people there, they will grow your audience. I'll give you an example of someone that came and spoke at the Rebellious Business Network for free, right? We didn't pay her to come speak. We haven't paid anyone to come and speak at the Rebellious Business Network. It's a mutually beneficial agreement, you know, where they get exposure and we get golden nuggets in exchange. And so we had a lady come and speak on the Rebellious Business Show. She got 3 more speaking gigs booked off the back of it, of some of our clients and also someone else who isn't one of our clients, asking her to come and speak on their live funnel shows or their live events. And so, you know, you get one speaking gig can often unleash like a few more. How do you get the first one though? Make your own events. Be the one that invites speakers to come and speak on your platform. Go live on social media and ask people to come and speak on your social media with you on their speciality, on their topic. And by the way, if you're one of our clients and you're inside the Rebellious Entrepreneur Academy and you're wanting to start running your own live events and you're wanting to start getting speakers to come and speak, we've got training on how to get these speakers in place and even scripts on messages to send people to invite them. So go and check out the Tribe Funnel training portal. But essentially, all it is, for those that aren't in the Tribe Funnel training portal, is curate a list of people you would like to collaborate with, go live with, your hit list, your target list, your Fortune 100 list, or whatever you want to bloody call it, and just reach out and send a personal message to them. Hey, Susan, I'm really wanting to start putting together a live series of interviews, and you're one of the first people that have come to mind who I would love to interview on social media. I love the work you're doing on XYZ, and I think it would be a really good fit for my potential clients to learn about what it is that you're teaching. Would you be open to doing a live interview with me on social media? Now, the only person that's going to say no to that is someone that's too busy or doesn't know you. Like the people that you've made friends with, that you've been connecting with, that you know from networking events, they're going to say yes, because a lot of people, a lot of us business owners understand the power and the leverage behind getting onto someone else's podcast, getting onto someone else's social media, because there's 2 benefits to this. The first benefit is that you get out in front of that person's audience. The second benefit is that you get to document on your own socials that you got asked to be interviewed, that you got asked to speak, that you got asked to do this thing just by advertising that it's happening. And in the advertising that it's happening, you're demonstrating, I am a public speaker. I am someone that gets interviewed. I am a person that has authority. And what that does is it gets more people reaching out to you and go, oh, can I interview you on my podcast? Or can I interview you on my podcast? And before you know it, you've had loads of these interviews and you realize, wow.
Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO.
Before you know it, you're on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah, that is actually a personal ambition of mine. I really would want to be on the Joe Rogan show. Personal, you have those big ones. That's one of my ones. But quickly, another plug. We're doing so good with plugging today. I'm going to do it though. When we host the live networking events, we have a whole segment dedicated to collaborations. It's called the collaboration breakouts. What we do is we set you challenges to go into a group with a small group of people, and then you guys have to figure out ways to collaborate. So if you are really struggling to get your friends to come and talk on a podcast, maybe consider why, because you might be a terrible friend, but there's always the networking event, right? Like if you join the next networking event, we post it everywhere, so you should be able to hear it. If not, just post a question in the group about how you can get onto the invite list.
It's the 9th of May at 1 p.m, so get it in the diary, and there will be an email coming out to you about it soon. If not, we will post about it in the Rebellious Business Network and on all our socials a bit close to the time. We start promoting it 10 days before the event. So 9th of May.
And we literally, we specifically create a segment for you guys to collaborate with one another to get those wheels turning. But honestly, again, another plug for the network, which is we've got a networking event where it's a live interactive event. We have a collaboration segment. But in the Rebellious Business Network, the Facebook group, everyone is there because they want to network. So it really is more fertile soil. I've used that twice today. For you to go find collaboration opportunities. So really recommend getting in there, not just because it's fantastic, but any networking group, right? Any group of business owners, they're all in there to be like, they're aspiring to grow their brand most likely. So, get involved, become a pillar of that community. And give loads of free value. That is the best thing I can say.
I would love to know, off the back of hearing us talk to you about this for the past 30-40 minutes, what is one thing that you're going to actually take away from this and do and put into place? Give me one action step that you're going to take from this session and put into place. If you're on Facebook, drop it in the chat. If you're here with us on Zoom, drop it in the chat. And if you're listening on Facebook, there is a Q&A. If you're listening on the podcast, there is a comment section with every podcast episode. So write it in a comment there. What is going to be your action step? Because I think, it can be quite scary to reach out and say, I want to interview you, especially if you're feeling like I don't have much of an audience to interview them in front of. They're going to think that I'm a bit of a loser because I've only got like 20 people in my Facebook group, or I've only got who's going to want to be interviewed in front of that audience? And it could be really easy to get stuck in your head over that kind of thing. But what would happen if you just thought, do you know what? I'm going to just put on my big girl pants, as this is a quote from Sarah. Sarah, one of our clients, has got us talking about pulling up your big girl pants. So it's a reference to that, by the way. Just in case you're wondering why I'm starting talking about big girl pants. I'm going to put on my big girl pants. I'm just going to go ask some people and see what happens. Or as, what would you do if you were 10 times more courageous, and just went out there and asked some people? Would it really be so bad if people said no, they were too busy? And what if you asked 10 people and you got a 10% conversion rate, which meant that one person actually said yes? Would that have been worth the 10 messages that you sent out? So let's see some of these action steps. Someone's going to network more, which is awesome, because that means you're going to be getting more connections. And top tip, Heather, to just really take that networking to the next level is, when we're going networking, we're not doing what everyone else is doing and coming out with our elevator pitch and also trying to prospect people and sell to people in the little chit chats or the breakout rooms. We're trying to make friends. if you go into networking with that perspective instead of what everyone else does at networking, you're going to stand out. And you're also going to come away from networking with more real connections than ever.
You could shake a stick at.
Yeah. And you can
don't shake sticks at people. It's really rude.
Tanya says, I'm going to work out who I'd like to interview. That's awesome. Yeah. Have a think about it and have a look through your connections. Have a look through the conversations you've been having on social media, who you're already connected with in the Rebellious Business Facebook group or in any programs that you're in, or just indeed your Facebook friends. You know, and it doesn't have to always be completely related. One of my best friend, I should actually correct that. She probably watches. My best friend, Kelly, right, is a barrister. Okay. Sorry, Caroline. Damn it. Kelly is one of my oldest friends, and she is my old and golden. We go back to teenagers, and Kelly is a barrister, and I would absolutely love to interview her on the Rebellious Business Show. She doesn't have a business, she doesn't want a business, she's a barrister, but the synergy there is that Kelly is incredible, because what she has done is she has gone after becoming a barrister through seriously hard times, through her child being in and out of intensive care and, you know, being really, really unwell and other turbulent things that have gone on. And she basically got through it, and she's now on the bar. She's currently just in her first 6 months of having her own caseload as a barrister, fully qualified on the bar, working in the courts. And her story, which I have not done any justice, being a very good pun not intended word to throw in there, I've not done any justice on her story, which is just phenomenal. Now, where's the relevancy to interview a barrister in front of the Rebellious Business Network community? Well, the bridge is really clear for me, which is the fact that it's a story of resilience. It's a story of not giving up. It's a story of knowing what you're passionate about and knowing what you want and going after it, even if the going gets tough. And that's what we have to do as entrepreneurs, because it's not an easy road to walk down. So it doesn't always have to be completely related. And if I interview Kelly, you know, all of her friends are going to want to watch that interview that she did, which means more people know about the Rebellious Business Network. I mean, I just want to interview Kelly because she's bloody amazing, and I just think people will be inspired by her. But that's the byproduct of doing that, is also a benefit to us as well, right?
I'm sure she could probably pull out some golden nuggets of lore that would be helpful. Like,
I'm sure she could, but she wouldn't need to. Her story of resilience would have enough golden nuggets in it as it is just for inspiration. And that's okay. Like, she could do that. Yeah, we could do a little training session on legal side of a business, but I think it would make the episode really boring, and that would take away from the real power of the episode, which would be just how phenomenal it is to get through to the other side of something over a really turbulent, mountainous range of life events.
I think that sounds excellent.
John says, make a list of other people's platforms I'd like to speak on, and also a list of people I'd invite onto my midday Monday mindset mastery sessions. Fabulous. Heather says, brilliant advice. Thank you. You're welcome. Stephanie says, reach out and ask people in my niche to connect. Awesome. John met Kelly. She's super lovely. Did you meet Kelly? I don't think you did, John. I'm confused. Has she met? Nina says, welcome new members in groups I'm in to introduce and reintroduce myself and my business work to get more work out more. Awesome. Nina says, support other participants of challenges I attend to support anyone with additional learning needs. I love that, Nina. You do that so well. We see you in the Rebellious Business Network doing that all the time. And it's a really amazing way to make friends with people, is to just offer help, offer support. You know, Nina is in the Rebellious Business Network, often offering people one-to-one calls if they're feeling nervous about putting themselves out there on a networking event. You know, we don't ask Nina to do that. She does that because she wants to be helpful, but you know, it helps Nina to also create connections. It's a really, really awesome thing. Sarah is saying is going to start opening with, how can I help? John's gonna, oh God, I've covered up give the wearing the big girl pants a miss, if we don't mind. We don't mind, John. You don't have to wear big girl pants. It's fine. Cool. Any more that I've missed?
We've got, well, John's clarifying where he met Kelly, which is at the play Cockfosters.
Oh, of course. Kelly was at Cockfosters. Yes. I was like, where? How's he met Kelly? Yes, of course. Yeah. We interviewed the playwright of Cockfosters on the Rebellious Business Show and bought some tickets to support him, and I took Kelly along to that. So John and Doug have both met Kelly. In fact, Doug Bennett, Kelly's husband, is a tube driver, and he gave Doug Bennett a ride in the tube driver's part at the front of the train for a couple of stops, which was just so much fun. Yeah, it was such a good night out. Cool.
Oh, amazing.
So,
I'm so gutted I missed that.
what I would be doing, my action steps, if I was to predefine them for you guys off the back of this, would be to go think about what circles I want to be getting in and getting myself into those circles, with prioritizing also making connections with the people that run the event. So if you're going to be going to networking events, who runs that networking event? Make friends with that person too, not just the networkers, but also the organizer. Because if you can make friends with the organizer, there might be a speaking opportunity that you can offer to speak or deliver some kind of training or support in some kind of way. Really good relationship to build. So prioritize the event organizer as a relationship to build at networking events. I'd also be making a list of all the people that I'm already connected with that could bring some value to my audience, and reaching out and asking them if I could interview them just on social media, or if I do have some kind of live show on there too. And on top of that, I would also be having a look at who I know that is an event organizer or has a networking event or has a podcast, and offering some kind of speech or training or interview of some kind that's going to give value to their audience. And I want to speak into this briefly. It is a whole other episode, but make sure that when you reach out to anybody asking for an interview or offering an interview, you always make it beneficial to them. Never say it's because you're growing your audience, you want to sell more products, you want to get out in front of more people. Don't make it about you. Make it about the fact that you've got this message that will be really awesome to their audience. All event organizers, big and small, have one problem. And that is that, number one, they need to get bums on seats. Okay, sorry, two problems, because I did think of a second one as I said one problem. There's two problems. Number one, they need to get bums on seats. They need to get people attending their events, but they need to make their events valuable by having people bring amazing content, right? They need good, valuable content at their events. And you can offer, maybe not to sell out their event, but you can offer to bring the value with your topic of what you want to talk about, what you want to share. And so you would reach out and say, hey, would you be interested in a session on this? I think your audience would find this really valuable, would be really happy to come and speak and teach this to your audience. You know, never make it about selling anything or growing your own audience, because it just gets people's backs up and they're just like, no, I'm sorry, my platform is not open for you to just use. But just wanted to share that. But that is a whole. Simon is a corporate event organizer. Simon, you probably get people reach out to you saying similar things as what I get, in terms of like, oh, can I come and speak at your event because I've got a product and I'd really love to give your audience a discount. It's like, it's not really the reason why we'd have someone come and speak. If you had something of real value, and that was the priority. So just make sure you're prioritizing that. It's really important, but that is a whole other topic. Caroline.
I think we've done fantastically well there, and it's 11:30. We might, if we Speedy Gonzalez, get it into the whole segment that we were planning on getting it into. I don't have anything to summarize. I think you've done a fantastic job there. Does anyone have any questions? You've got 12 seconds.
It's hard to find someone who isn't a 45-minute.
Oh Lord, well, I feel like we've been a bit pitchy today, but like it's all been relevant. It's like, guys, I just can't not tell you about the products that we've got, because you know what, when we did, one of the things that really stood out to me on Client Week, I'm going to end it at this. We do Client Week inside Rebellious Entrepreneurs Academy once a month. Off the kickoff call, one of the participants on the call said, thank you girls for thinking of everything. And I think that makes, we really do try and think of everything we talk about. We've tried to create solutions for. So I'm sorry if we have been plugging our services, but the stuff that we really excel at, and the stuff that we like talk about, is stuff that we have really tried to solve problems for, and have gone to great lengths to do that. So that's why we've been plugging. I hope it doesn't feel like a 45 minutes.
I don't think it would have felt like we were plugging if you hadn't kept telling everyone that you were plugging.
I just don't like it. I hate the 45-minute sales pitches.
A sales pitch, a 45-minute sales pitch is where someone comes on and they fluff, and then they just go into all the reasons why you need to buy something, how much every single feature of the program is worth, adding it up to 10.
Or not even telling you the price, just talking through the problem for about 45 minutes and saying, if you want the solution, then you must work with me for an extortionate amount. It's like, oh, I'm sold.
Yeah, I don't think that works that well anymore. No, we do like to give everyone everything as much as we can. We don't hold our cards close to our chest, and it's very important to just give everyone as much as we've got, because I just think that is the best principle for demonstrating to people, number one, that you actually care, number two, that you provide good content, and number three, that you know your shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you with us here on Zoom and over on Facebook. And if you're watching this on the replay or on the podcast, which is also another form of replay, then let us know, drop a comment to let us know that you were here. But yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our community. We love you all very much. And we'll be back here, same time, same place next week for an episode with one of our incredible rebels, who is going to be talking to you, I think, about, go on, Caroline, you know about what's happening.
We're going to be talking about how to synergize your online brand with your business functions. Like, what does your website support your business, or is it just a massive blah of crap? Blah. I actually haven't got the words for it. I did the promo for it this morning, but basically it's about bringing everything together so that your online presence helps and functions for your business.
Well, there we go. That's what we're doing next week. So I hope to see you there. In between now and then, if you're in the Rebellious Entrepreneur Academy, I'll see you on a live call. It is client week in there this week. And all of our clients are currently ploughing their way through client getting strategies and putting them into action. And it's a lot of fun. So I'll see you on a live call. Otherwise, see you next week on the Rebellious Business Show or inside the Rebellious Business.